Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. Okay, so building a highly functional, interactive website, it's honestly exactly like constructing a massive skyscraper, right? If you don't lay down a rock-solid foundation, it literally doesn't matter how beautiful the penthouse looks. The whole thing is going to crumble the second you put any real weight on it. Today, we're focusing on exactly that, laying the foundation. We're looking at the professional jQuery environment architecture, because before we even write a single line of flashy code, we absolutely have to prep our environment. The sources we're digging into today strongly recommend grabbing a high-quality free text editor, something like Brackets. It's totally free for Windows and Mac, and honestly, it's a real game changer for structuring this kind of work. You might also want to grab a pre-existing base HTML and CSS project from a GitHub repo to follow along with us. That way, you can see jQuery in action right away. Once you've got your tools in hand, you're ready to build.
Let's dive right into this setup. The source material outlines a really methodical, professional blueprint based on 4 key pillars: selection, placement, hierarchy, and verification. We're not just slapping code on a page here, we're architecting an environment. All right, kicking things off with Pillar 1, selection. Specifically, we're going to navigate versions and builds. So when you first go to download jQuery, I know, it is incredibly easy to get overwhelmed by the sheer number of choices. But if you treat these choices as strategic architectural trade-offs, it starts to make total sense. First up, you're confronted with this fascinating contrast between jQuery 1 and jQuery 2. Now, your gut instinct might be, hey, just grab the newest version, right? Hold on a second. jQuery 1 might be a little older, sure, but it is completely accepted across all browsers. And yes, that includes those tricky legacy ones. This makes it incredibly safe for beginners because you don't have to stress over frustrating browser compatibility issues when you're literally just trying to learn the ropes. On the flip side, jQuery 2 has some awesome modern features. It's a leaner file, but it drops support for those older browsers. So for a foundational setup, sticking with jQuery 1 is definitely going to guarantee a smoother start. But wait, the selection process doesn't stop at the version number. You also have to choose between a development build and a production build. And this is a super vital professional distinction. The development version is completely uncompressed. You're going to want to download this one when you're working locally on your computer because it's so much easier to read and debug if something goes wrong. In short, the development version is essential for local debugging, while the production version is for live performance. The production version is compressed or minified. Basically, all those extra spaces and line breaks are stripped right out. You really only use this version when your website is going out on the live internet, because those compressed files mean loading times are way lower. Since we're building our foundation locally today, the development version is absolutely our essential choice.
Moving right along to Pillar 2, placement, and how we go about avoiding those pesky render blocks.
It brings up a really fantastic question. Where exactly do scripts actually belong? I mean, a lot of people instinctively just pop their JavaScript files right up there in the HTML head tag. It seems logical, right? Like, load the scripts first. But is that actually the best practice for page performance? Let's think about the journey the browser actually takes as it reads your HTML document from top to bottom.
Here is the absolutely crucial architectural rule. You need to demonstrate exactly why scripts belong at the very bottom of the body tag to avoid render blocking and ensuring the DOM is ready. Literally, place them right before the closing body tag. Why is this so important? Well, placing them exactly there defeats the ultimate villain of web performance, the render block. If you load your JavaScript files first, up in head, the browser actually stops rendering the visual part of your page until those scripts finish loading. No way, right? That totally delays the page and ruins the user experience. Plus, if your script starts trying to bind events to HTML elements that haven't even been loaded by the browser yet, oh boy, that causes a whole lot of trouble. Putting the scripts at the bottom ensures the rest of the page, the document object model, or DOM, is fully parsed and completely ready before the browser even glances at the JavaScript. It's just playing it safe and smart.
And that brings us to Pillar 3, hierarchy, focusing on the actual script order.
Okay, so now that we know where our scripts live, down at the bottom of the page, we really need to understand how they stack up against each other. Otherwise, you're looking at missing references and absolute chaos. There's a strict order of operations you got to follow here. We need to explicitly show that the jQuery library must be the first script loaded so that subsequent custom scripts have a reference point. Step 1, you absolutely must load that jQuery library script first. Then step 2, only then do you load your custom script. You know, like a blank script.js file where you're going to write your own code. Why the strict rules? Because your custom scripts are going to use the jQuery language. If you load your custom script before the library, your script is going to look around and say, I don't know what any of these commands mean. It has literally nothing to reference. Loading the library first is kind of like handing someone a dictionary before asking them to translate a whole book.
Finally, we arrive at Pillar 4, verification. This is what's known as the hallmark test.
All right, we've selected the right files, we've placed them perfectly to avoid render blocking, and we've ordered them in a super strict hierarchy. Now, we actually have to test if our carefully constructed architectural foundation is, well, alive and working. To do this, we look for one specific symbol, the $sign. This is the absolute hallmark of jQuery. Wherever you see this sign in your JavaScript files, it's almost 100% guarantee that jQuery is being used. It's basically the universally recognized key that unlocks all the powerful features of the library we just so carefully installed.
So to verify the whole shebang, we jump into our custom script file and conclude with a hello world test using the hallmark $sign and a ready function to confirm the library is active. We check when the document is ready, and then we just run a simple function. Alert, jQuery loaded. When you save your files and refresh your browser, if a little alert box pops up on your screen proudly proclaiming jQuery loaded, boom, victory is yours. That little box confirms that your library is active, your hierarchy is spot on, and you are officially ready to start manipulating the web page.
Which leaves us with this final thought for the explainer. I know, it is so tempting to just rush past the setup to get to the flashy animated code. But seriously, if you can't build a foundation, how on earth will you build a skyscraper? Mastering this professional environment architecture, understanding exactly why you choose a development build for local debugging versus a production build for live performance, why you place scripts at the very bottom of the body tag to avoid render blocking and ensure the DOM is ready, why the library script must load first to provide that crucial reference point, and how to confirm it all with a hallmark test, that is exactly what separates a hobbyist from a true professional. It guarantees your projects are stable, lightning fast, and bug-free from day one. So take a hard look at your own projects. Is your foundation truly as solid as it could be? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I really hope this leaves you eager to start constructing some incredible JavaScript skyscrapers of your own.